Hi, and thanks for listening to Loqpod. I'm Katy Ringsdore. Today, I'm joined by the co-founder and chief product officer of Prograd. It's a business designed to help young people navigate their way through personal finance. Well, Marco, thank you very much indeed for joining me on Loqpod today. It's really lovely to have you on air with us. Could you just maybe start by introducing yourself and telling me a little bit about you?
Thank you so much, Katy. First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm a big fan of the work that you're doing and Loqbox as well. My name is Marco Logiudice. I'm originally half Somali, half Italian, but I was born and raised in Florence. My role right now is as a co-founder of Prograd, a startup that focuses on helping young people navigate through finance for the first time. My journey has been quite a unique one, if you want to say so. So I came from Italy to the UK when I was 18, but I was lucky enough to have my aunt living in London since I was 15. And so every summer since I was 15, I used to come to London and find different types of jobs to kind of earn some money and become independent. And eventually, when I was 18, I was lucky enough to come here and study in the UK. I read economics and finance at undergrad and did my master's as well. Then started my corporate career in private equity, where I was working in funding the balance sheet of fintech companies until after a year after that, I decided to stop everything and start Prograd with my co-founder, Ethan.
It's a great story. And I love that, you know, your background kind of really helped us to kind of build Prograd into what it is today. And it's still a fairly young business, but for people that don't perhaps know what Prograd is yet, could you maybe explain a little bit about what you and Ethan have built?
Absolutely. So we started Prograd officially in 2021. But the genesis of the idea traces back to maybe 2019 when Ethan and myself were looking to study our master's degree. And because of our humble backgrounds, we couldn't necessarily afford the cost of the tuition. So I was going to study my master's in finance at Cambridge. Ethan was going to do a master's in computer science at UCF. And for the first time, we realized that the bank of mom and dad wasn't going to cut it for us. We looked everywhere for funding from the government, which was capped and wasn't able to cover the full cost of our degree. And so for the first time, we had to go out there in the market, looking at our options as young people, trying to kind of finance our future. And what we realized is how difficult that entire process was. It was a lot of financial jargon, APR, credit limits, interest rates, lots of things that even if you studied finance, really are not representative of the things that you would study in a degree. So I was completely unaware of them. And then even when kind of I started to understand it, I realized that there weren't lots of options for young people like us because we have thin credit files and generally it's very difficult to understand whether we will afford to repay any sorts of credit. And so in 2019, throughout university, Ethan and I used to kind of work together on it as a kind of small idea, and then decided to put a bit more time over 2020 during COVID, and effectively we started officially full-time in 2021 in September as we got accepted into Techstars, the accelerator. And for us, really, the mission of Prograd is to create a new generation of young people that is empowered by finance instead of being scared of it, and where a young person can really define their own future with regards to their financial journey from the early beginning. So right now, we launched Prograd a little less than a month ago with over 40 partners in the UK. And it's been going extremely well with thousands of users. And we're really excited about, you know, the work that we've done so far, but most importantly, what we're doing next in helping young people navigate through this journey that is so complex and it's got so many different facets to it.
Now, just picking up on, you know, how Prograd works. Now, I've had a good old look through it, and there's some great educational pieces on your site and when you join. But what I really, really love about Prograd is the community element to it. So it taught me through, but I'll let you explain it. There's no point in me jabbering on about it. You're the expert. Tell me about the community platform element to it and how you kind of encourage people to talk to each other and help each other out.
That's a great point, and I'm so glad that you picked up on that. Our entire idea is that you don't wake up in the morning looking for a financial product as a young person. Matter of fact, you don't even know what different financial products are. But what you do wake up in the morning with is usually a need. And, you know, you may need money to do something, or you may need a different product to go from point A to point B. And so our entire philosophy is how can we help a young person navigate through these different options up until the point in which they find the best potential product for them. And as part of this, our CTA or call to action is quite simple for a young person that's starting a journey. They just tell us how much money they need and what they need it for. And then we help them throughout that process find the best product for them. But the key thing that we realize is that ultimately money and finance, even though they're being commoditized and people speak about financial products, they're an extremely emotional topic. And people want to speak about them, people want to reflect on them, and also they want to compare their situations with the situation of other people that may have gone through a similar pain. And so this is why we really started a community, and we're so happy that it's going very well. In less than a month since we started it, we have over 400 members, and people are active on it every day, and the content is quite interesting. You will have people that are speaking loudly about problems they may be facing, and it's quite interesting how different people are facing different problems, because ultimately everybody's going through the similar life moments and life journeys. You may have finished education, starting your first job. You may start to think about how to save or how to invest your money, or maybe you haven't been able to find a job that is paying you well enough for you to afford living in London or living in the UK, and therefore you're looking for credit and ways to kind of round up your income. And so we're seeing an incredible amount of value by people kind of speaking about similar problems that they're facing. And we're really excited about what's to come next about the community, because we are now onboarding some community experts. So these are experts in residence. These are certified financial advisors that would support a young person that is asking questions, and the young person can know that this question is being answered by someone that is certified and really knows about what they're speaking about. We're also about to launch weekly Q&As through Instagram and TikTok, run through our community, where we just take the main points that have been asked throughout the week, and we do a little event and a little Q&A where we go through them with some special guests. And that's really the focus. How can we really cater for the emotional side of money and help young people through a difficult time?
Yeah, and it's really good you say that, actually, because looking at it, you know, if I'd had a tool like this before I applied to go to university, it would have really helped me make a decision, because what I really liked as well was part of your platform, you can put in the university you're going to attend and the course you're going to study, and it kind of gives you a mean salary of what you could potentially earn and where those roles will sit. And I found it really interesting, and some of the data in there was really quite surprising for the course that I was going to study. I didn't go to university in the end, but that's another story for another day. But I noticed on there that perhaps if I'd had that data to hand, it would have made me actually change the decisions I was going to make as part of a young adult's decision to go to university. Where do you get that data from, and why did you build that in so early into Prograd?
Absolutely. So I think that's really everything that we do is through constant communication with our customers. And so just to give you an idea, every week we speak to maybe 40 to 50 customers that we have. We incentivize them with some prizes just because we really need to hear from them what is it that we can do to build a better future and a better generation of young people that understand finance. And one of the things that we realize is that people or young people don't necessarily have the tools to make a decision when they're young around where they're going to do in their studies. And most importantly, when they are making a decision, very often it's not reflective of where they want to be. And so what we thought about doing is how can we utilize the data that we have through partnerships with universities, student bodies, recruitment companies, as well as the Department for Education, to put together a data set and a tool that can help a young person think about, okay, if I am going to study this course and this university, what have other people been up to after that? And what kind of journeys have they undertaken? And is this inspiring to me, or is it useful for me so that I will make a different decision? Or even if I've already made this decision and I'm studying this course, now that I know where other people are going, can I be doing something different to position myself so that I can get to where I want to get? And so for us, everything is really about empowerment, Katy. How can I empower you with information that is simple to digest, and it's in a format that you're used to, but is at the same time providing you a great amount of value? And this is what we're trying to do with these pro tools. We just started, we have 4 of them. We're now about to add another tool that helps you understand what your carbon emission footprint is like based on what you spend your money on. And these are all things that young people really care about. And we just want to create an ecosystem of tools that can be supportive for a young person, empowering you, putting you at the center to make the best choices for your future.
I mean, you make it all sound very easy, Marco, but being part of a couple of small businesses and, at the development stage, I know there's a huge amount of work that goes into everything that you, Ethan, and the rest of the team are doing. What have been some of your biggest challenges so far?
So I would say, first of all, it's definitely not easy. And if it ever looks easy, it's because we have really a great team that is supporting us. And as you can imagine, uh, Ethan and I starting the company, we're young. Uh, we don't may not have the credibility of many of the people that work with us, and so we're really being blessed and fortunate to have a team of people that have been through startups before, been in big corporation before, and are teaching us every day. Like when I go to work every day, I'm learning. And to be honest, yes, I may have founded the company, but the real people that are driving everything is the team and what they're doing. And for us, the biggest challenge is really to maintain this level in the team because as we grow, just by definition of the scale and, hiring more people, we're going to find ourselves in a position where we may have brought some people in that are not the right ones. And I think we're spending an incredible amount of time and also money to make sure that we are getting the right people on board with us. And I think that's the most important thing and the biggest challenge for us, as well as we are working in a regulated environment, and very often, as young people, you think you can do anything, but the reality is that there are strict guidelines that we need to follow as a business, and that we're following every day. And this is something that we need to continue to do as we scale and may bring different products or different providers on board on our platform. So for us, it's all about continuing to build a great team and staying on the right side of the FCA and making sure that we continue to work with them to do something different.
Absolutely. You mentioned the importance of some of the partners that Prograd have been working with so far. Could you talk me through some of your partnerships and kind of how that's helped develop Prograd to where it is now?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say we have a number of partners that are working with us, and I think it's important to kind of break them down according to what they do for the end consumer. And of course, we have some financial services companies or lenders. Like, for example, Santander is working with us on personal loans. We also have plenty of innovative lenders like Koyo or Fintern, Planned, we just onboarded. And really and truly, the focus for us is to create a panel of financial institutions that can really support our customer base. But there are instances in which, for example, a young person may not be able to borrow yet. And it's really important for us to make that clear. We don't want you to take on credit if credit is not right for you. We're here to try and find the best option for you to solve your problem. And this is why I'm very happy and very proud to be working with you guys at Loqpod to help young people build their credit scores as they grow in different ways, through different products, by saving money or by paying their rents or different types of activities. And also really important for us are partners that help young people earn money. So one of the key things is that, if we cannot help you find financing or we cannot help you build your credit score, for example, we're going to try and help you find the money that you need. And very often that means working. And so we are now partnered with companies like Indeed Flex. We're partnered with Fiverr, tutoring companies, and a bunch of other companies as well that we're onboarding at the moment. They help young people earn money instead of borrowing. So let's say you need £500 to buy your new laptop. Okay, yes, you could take this credit card, but what about you just go work over the weekend? You don't need a CV. You can work over 4 or 5 hours, make £100 or whatever that is, and be closer to buying your laptop than you were before. And this is really about, what we're focusing on is empowering you with choice, not just by pushing products to you, but really bringing solutions. And now we're also closing a partnership with some, major educational companies that help you upskill yourself. So maybe, you cannot get money right now, but we can see from your profile that you have great experiences. And maybe if you are working on this particular course, or if you learn more about this particular topic within your industry, you could see a salary uplift of, let's say, 10% or 15%. And maybe that can be a solution instead of you borrowing money.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. And, like you say, data is king here, isn't it? Without that information available, it could be much trickier for younger people to make these decisions and could end up in a spiral of debt, like you say. And I think that's why Prograd and Loqpod are such a good fit for one another, because we've got very similar outlooks when it comes to kind of empowering people and educating people to get the right kind of financial health and well-being for their future. Now, what kind of feedback have you had from your customers so far, Marco?
The feedback has been very, very positive. And, obviously, um, you always prepare for this. You always prepare for, doing well, but at the same time, we were not probably expecting the level of feedback that we received. So it's been very humbling to hear people actually being helped for the first time, or young people that didn't have options before to find options now, which feels amazing. At the same time, we understand that there is plenty to work on, and the people that we focus on the most are the people that do not find us helpful. And so this is why we are interviewing them every week. And one of the key things that we're discovering is that people don't just want options. Very often they want support and guidance on what do I need to do to go from point A to point B, and how is it that what you're suggesting me to do will help me get there. And so it's really more about a journey than it is about a one-off transaction. And this is something that we are implementing heavily into our product and into our strategy, as well as, understanding that as a startup, we literally started building the marketplace maybe 3.5 months ago. And in 3.5 months, we built it and launched it. But there's so much more that we have to do on the product, and build and bring in more providers on board to help with more choice for the customer. So I would say guidance and support has been one of the key feedbacks, as well as obviously providing more choice and more products. Because very often people think that we've seen, can you help us with this thing? Or can you help us understand how to save or invest better? And obviously we cannot do it because we need to be laser focused on what we're doing at the moment. But for sure, we're taking that feedback on board for the future.
That's great. And like you say, you're still quite young. So to get all this feedback now to kind of build and develop for the future is critical, isn't it? So how do you and Ethan see Prograd developing? What's the dream, the end goal for Prograd? What's the dream?
That's
big question.
Ethan and I, yeah, but this is really what Ethan and I speak about every day and really dream about. And the idea for us is obviously to build a global business and a company that can help young people worldwide, because we recognize that financial literacy is a problem not just in the UK, but really and truly across the world. And resolving financial literacy can be an enabler for more social mobility and just better outcomes for everyone. So really and truly, we want to ideally fulfill our mission on a global scale. And the next big things for us are really to be able to optimize and personalize the journeys for young people, and at some point automate them as well, so that through the data that we have, we can automatically find better options for our customers, as well as potentially start bundling things together. So if I know that a young person at a particular stage in their life, let's say, I just moved into the UK as someone as a young professional, there are a suite of products and services that you will need. For example, you will need to have a bank account, you will need to build your credit score, potentially you will need to have insurance or health insurance. And so the idea for us is to really start becoming an embedded provider of solutions for young people that are going through life moments. And so that you come to Prograd and in one stop, you solved everything that you wanted to solve, and now you can go back and have your solution sorted out. And at the same time, knowing that we're like your best friend when it comes to finance. We are that person that you go and speak to and ask for advice, or you just expect them to find you better deals. And that's what we really want to be. Is we want to be the best friend of a young person that's going through life, not just in the UK but globally. It's a big ambition. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of grind and being humble and keeping your head down. But all the premises are there, and there is no reason why we shouldn't push for achieving that.
No, absolutely. And I love your enthusiasm and your ambition. And obviously, as young entrepreneurs yourselves, is there anything that you, and perhaps Ethan as well, have learned about yourselves on this journey so far?
So much, and so many things that I thought I knew and I didn't know. That's probably the ones that hit the most. Is you have a certain vision of who you are, and then you realize how many things you didn't know about yourself or you thought about yourself that weren't true. And just to give you a few examples, I thought, I'm young, I can work forever, and I can push like crazy every day, work 20 hours. And what I quickly recognized is that there is a lot of cost in being an entrepreneur that is not tangible. And these are the cost of the stress. This is the cost of the pressure. Is the cost of the expectation from your investors, your stakeholders, your customers, your employees. And the reality is that it is incredibly difficult, and the most important lessons that I've learned is to be even keeled, Don't go too high, don't get too low. Just stay focused, stay on the grind, recognize that it's a marathon and not a sprint, and be to some extent detached from outcomes. You gotta be extremely attached to your strategy and extremely attached to the work that you put in every day. But ultimately, the outcome of a particular project or the outcome of a particular feature will not be fully dependent on you, and it's all about iterating and improving. So I would say the most important things that I've learned so far is just to stay even keeled, to be patient, and to iterate and don't assume that you're going to do something and it's going to work the first time you do it.
That's great. I love that. That's good advice, actually, for other young entrepreneurs that are perhaps just starting out. I can't imagine how difficult and stressful it is to be starting a business, and especially off the back of a pandemic as well. So congratulations to you and Ethan and the rest of the team for everything you guys have done. I'm a big fan of Prograd, and I'm really chuffed that you've spoken to me today, Marco. Thank you so much indeed for taking the time to be on Loqpod.
Thank you so much, Katy. It's honestly a pleasure, and I'm a big fan of Loqpod myself. So thank you so much.